There we go. We are live and happy, at least this weekend. 3-1 to Liverpool against Fulham. And it is a Timuchin special on the day Timuchin doesn't predict the Timuchin special. But that would have to be the way, wouldn't it? It would have to be something like completely unusual, an unusual lineup, a leaked lineup for the first time in a long, long time. And we have a Gravenberg goal. so it's one of those unusual days. But Timuchin, what did you think of that one?
I don't know. I mean, you got to be happy with the result, right? The result is solid. You got to love that. Some good performances to take, but I mean, you did not walk away from the game saying they're back. But I think you saw some positive signs. You were able to rotate and all that kind of stuff. So some positives to take. But I mean, second half I thought was a lot better. But the first half really it felt like just Thursday.
Brian, that seems to be an issue, though, doesn't it? We spot teams the first half and then we pull it together in the second half, but it really needs to end at this point, doesn't it? Especially with Everton coming up and Spurs coming up, and then we essentially can't lose or draw for the rest of the season if we want to win the league. So giving teams a half is really the dumbest thing we could do, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, especially with how sloppy Fulham was right there, we should have easily capitalized. I think a clinical side would have probably been up 2-3-0 in that first 20 minutes right there with the way Fulham was playing. I think that we just lacked a lot of that confidence right there that we were talking about in Discord right there to capitalize off of it right there. But again, we can't. Our side like that matters for the first 15 minutes. If we go with a back foot of the first 15 minutes, it basically sets up the entire match. I'm happy for the win. I think that that we looked like Tamusha said right there. It looked better, but it wasn't like the all-star that we wanted to see at the moment.
Timuchin Suzy says that none of the top three teams are playing well right now, and it's all about the results. On the Discord channel, we had some calls for raising the goal difference. We're not going to win this on goal difference. And in 2014, I think we could all agree that chasing goal difference hurt us in that Crystal Palace game. Instead of just taking the 3-1 or 3-0, whatever it was, we were up and just closing it down. Brendan Rodgers wanted more goals and left us too open in the end. So at this point of the season, if it comes down to goal difference, it comes down to goal difference. But we want to be there at the top on the last day, don't we?
Yeah, I think that ship has sailed. I think we were talking about, I think it was like on a morning show, we were talking about with Matush. I was like, I think there were 9 games to go at the end. And we were like, oh, it's just only like a goal over is what we were going for. But I think that ship has sailed. I mean, you would have maybe had a glimmer if you get another 2, like win this game like 5-1 or something like that. But I think you kind of like going off of, I still think Arsenal will lose points. The concern I have is City going to lose points. And I guess even before then, are we going to be able to win out? I guess that's like the biggest thing. I just do not look at how we play. And I agree. Like, I don't agree that none of the top 3 teams are playing well right now. I feel like we struggle a lot more to get to the results than, like, for example, Arsenal. When they do get the results, I guess, like in terms of clean sheets and stuff like that. I mean, Brian is the one who always talks about, keeping clean sheets and like the defense winning the game for you and stuff like that. And you can't rely on that right now. We were talking about in the pre-match. You can't rely on us keeping teams out from scoring. So then that means you have to outscore them. Well, when you're struggling up top, that's kind of hard to rely on. And that's like the biggest challenge right now. But I mean, I agree. At the end of the day, yes, you want 3 points. At this point, you're not going to look at something and project like months from now, because there is no months from now. We're over in 6 more games over here.
Brian, the second half was obviously markedly better than the first and almost looked like we were back to our old self. And then I made a comment on the subs in Discord that now that the pressure is off, we have the 3 goals. Points aren't in the bag, but we've opened up the drawstrings and we're placing them in. So maybe the pressure would be off Mo and Nunes, but the pressure wasn't off Mo and Nunes because they were just as abject as they have been in the past few weeks. So number 1, does that justify Klopp's changes for the starting lineup? And number 2, should he continue with those changes for the rest of the season?
I don't know. I think it's gonna be really hard to continue those changes on there. I do like Gapco on the left. I think that he seemed to be a lot more effective. Diaz right there wasn't bad on the right. I didn't think that was really that bad of an option. I just think that keeping everybody happy is going to be really difficult this next month. You know, I think that I figured that Mo would have got on right there and been a little bit peed right there that he was on the bench, that he would have had a little bit more fire behind him. But I didn't really see it. I didn't see that Mo the mad Mo that we all saw right there when he gets subbed off and stuff like that. It's just like, I don't know, it's like kind of what we talked about on Thursday right there. I think that Mo's kind of knows that he's off. I mean, he knows that this is probably the last this is the last couple weeks of his Liverpool career in a way. I mean, now Nunez was just Nunez. I mean, I can't say anymore, but I mean, offside a couple of times right there, But I mean, it's just, I don't know. I don't know what to do about Nunez. I mean, we talked about Discord this morning. I have no clue what to do. I mean, I think that Nunez is going to stay here after this next season. I know he's young. It's just trying to retrain him to go out there to have that, but more of a clinical finishing and a little bit more lethality to him right there. Because right now he just doesn't have it.
Is Mo a guy like that though? Like, what Brian is saying. Like, do you want Mo? I just don't feel like Mo struggles are not like Mo not trying or Mo not really asserting himself. I think he's just like in a funk. I almost feel like when Mo gets mad or over tries, I almost feel like it hurts Mo as opposed to the confidence free flowing Mo that's, takes it one time when he knows he can and then takes a touch when he shouldn't. It's almost like the reverse now. And I just think that's more confidence, but yeah, like Nunez, we were talking about with you, Mecca. Like some of the offsides on a one-touch pass is just not acceptable, really.
The thing I would say about about Mo rather, is, and it seems like we're forgetting all of the great strikers we had, but once they lose it, it never comes back. Like we've had we didn't have Owen lose it on our watch, but he did lose it when he came back to England when he was at Newcastle and United. He just wasn't Michael Owen. Alan Shearer was the same. Once he lost it, he was there on reputation. Torres, once he lost it for us, never got it back for any club as far as I can make out. Who?
Robbie Fowler.
Fowler, yeah, the same thing. Like once strikers lose it, I don't think it comes back. And where maybe there's a lot of fear of missing out for a lot of Liverpool supporters with Mo, in terms of, if we give him that one more chance, he's going to do the business again. I don't see it. But for Nunez, he has to be the stupidest football player I've ever seen, apart from Carlton Palmer. I mean, come on. The only thing I can think about is, and Suarez had a little bit about this as well, they were brought up in such a street soccer environment where offside doesn't really matter, that they're just so used to not thinking that offside is a thing. It's almost like you have to bring the FIFA law book out and go, look, no, it's here. It's law 17. It's right here.
It just feels like he's so fast, he doesn't have to. You know what I mean? I can understand if you're trying to gain an edge or something like that. The dude is so freaking fast. He's already creating panic in the defender. I would hate to be a center back playing against them. But I just do not understand, him making a run on a one-touch pass and being off. We were talking about it right before we went on air. It's one thing to say, hey, you got to release me faster. And it's a matter of, being on the same page, a timing pattern or something like that. It's not like the ball is coming to Mo. Even if you anticipate a one-touch pass, which he did twice, just freaking time it to that touch at least, not start running. And then, did we ever even think? And here's the thing, the benefit of the doubt, the goal, Jota's goal is really close, but you almost had the benefit of the doubt that Jota would time that and the pass came in on time. With Nunez, when it's close, you're like, yeah, that's probably off. I don't even need the lines. That's probably off.
Let me kind of go back a bit, because I don't often get to repeat things that I said, but on one of the pre-match, I think it was last week's pre-match, I made the statement that Conor Bradley is a better fullback than Trent Alexander-Arnold. I didn't say he was a better player than Trent Alexander-Arnold, but he's a better fullback than Trent Alexander-Arnold. And a perfect example of this was today. Maybe he scored a free kick and it was fantastic after me complaining about Harvey Elliott smashing it into the wall for some odd reason, or like maybe that guy owed him money. But we had a throw in against us, and Trent let this player go as if he was offside, and the ball went over his head twice. And that to me is what I'm talking about. A fullback should know these things. Like Conor Bradley plays the fullback position better than Trent Alexander-Arnold plays it, but Trent Alexander-Arnold is a better all-round player. And we saw the two sides of that, Tamuchin, do you think? Like his attacking play was great. It was almost back to the top-notch stuff, but you just get the heebie-jeebies every time there's a ball going around the back post or from over his head.
It's like defensive awareness, I guess, is the only thing. I mean, I'm sure like he knows there's no off, right? Like I literally put it in.
You'd like to think so.
He knows, right? Like somebody has told him, like, hey, you can't be off, dude. It's a throw in. I think it's just defensive awareness. I don't know if that's eagerness to be effective going forward. So it's almost like when you rush things, when you rush to win the ball back as a defender, it always backfires. It's not the same as a midfielder, as a forward. But if you don't because you forget your fundamentals, you forget your basics, and you rush things. It's similar to an attacker rushing their shots and it goes haywire, right? As a defender, you don't want to rush winning the ball. I almost feel like that's what he does. But then you see the attacking player he can be. He did start wearing that in the second half. But I mean, his distribution and stuff like that. And I really want to see him and Mac on the pitch at the same time doing that so that they can't just focus on Trent as a defense. Like they have to kind of like watch, because especially in the second half, I thought the movements throughout the team was great. So people were popping in all over the place, like to receive the ball. And I think it's the biggest challenge moving forward is finding a spot where you can get the most out of him. Whether that's like a 3-4-3 and he's on the right hand side, that's probably my theory on that, because then at least you have a center back there and a right center midfielder to help cover that area at times. That's probably the solution, because yes, you are going to have this. And I mean, I've been saying this for a while. Whenever I say Trent's defending, people are like, oh, that's part of the system. Letting the ball go over your heads on a throw-in is like a U8 thing that you yell at U8s, U9s for. So having it by an over and over again. The first goal, I have to go back and watch. I don't want to put that on Trent. I do want to put that on everybody on that right. We had 3 players. They had 3 players on that side. And how that ball came in so easily is somebody's responsibility there. I have to go back and watch it. But
overall, I would say for that goal, if you look back, because there's always a point of transition where you have to question where the transition happened. It was Robertson trying to pass the ball out from the back, instead of just lettering it down the field and let us get reorganized. And because of that domino effect happens.
But that left side was left open almost the entire match. I mean, if you watch it right there, I mean, if it was somebody better than Iwobi right there, we'd probably suffered a little bit more right there. But you know, Iwobi's Iwobi. I mean, I mean, that goal right there really technically happened because of that left side. I mean, right there. I mean, this is that one opportunity that to happen, and plus we failed to clear the ball out again right there. I mean, we get these like weird head games in the box sometimes with defending that we can't get the ball out of the box, and we paid for it.
Tamuchin, we talked about Kanate in the pre-match, and I said I was glad that Kwanzaa was in. He did a good job, didn't he?
Yeah, he's solid. I mean, the only thing you get, I think, he didn't do it today, and I'm assuming that's by the setup or how it was defended, because they did have 2 defensive midfielders kind of like park over there and close the middle. He can kind of push up with the ball a bit more, Matip-like. But like still doesn't. I mean, he's very, very young. I mean, he's a player that's only going to get better as he gets better with like building play from the back, passing between the lines and stuff like that. But I thought defensively he was fine, and he benefits more, I think, when, like, for example, Mac is playing the 6. So there's one more person who can actually take the responsibility of starting play, as opposed to it's just him and Van Dijk, because then they just goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Well, I wanted to ask you that question as well, because I think if you looked at some portions of the first half, we really did miss a Matip, didn't we? Somebody who would just walk the ball out from the back and bring you into the attacking third and say, boys, stop passing it back here. It needs to be there. It needs to be in that end of the field. Because we did play an awful lot of passes at the back in the first half, didn't we?
But there was something.
Oh, that was for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because you're the Matip fan.
I am the Matip fan. That, and I feel like, we were kind of like talking about this on the Discord with like Bickler back and forth. I really think Endo is a great player in that role if we have the leads and we don't have to create and break down the defense. Because he does not give really the threat of turning with the ball or doing like that you get from Mac and Gravenberg or somebody like that. So I think you get clogged up. I mean, how often do we get clogged up over there where you have Van Dijk to Endo, back to Van Dijk, back to Ellison, back to Kwanzaa, back to Endo, back to Kwanzaa, back. So, and then when you take Trent away from being wide, because he's constantly moving to receive the ball, now there's no outlet for Kwanzaa, so he has to come back to Van Dijk or he has to go to Endo and the ball keeps coming back. And then when everybody is covered, that's when people press and they can kind of like, you can see Endo turning the ball over a lot. So that was what I was like talking about. I feel like having Mac over there definitely helps Kwanzaa a lot more because we can actually build play. And there is that danger of Mac or whoever is receiving the ball turning with the ball as opposed to, but Endo, you can kind of tell after 2-1 and the second half how good Endo is once we have the lead and we just have to control. When a team is coming at us, I think Endo is golden. When we're trying to break down a defense, I don't think he's the right guy in that position.
Brian, Gravenberg scored. I thought he did a good job. Not anything spectacular apart from the goal, but certainly way higher a level than we've seen from him in recent games. And Gakpo as well. He was fantastic on the left. Could we be seeing a turnaround for Gravenberg, or did he just have a lightning in a bottle game today?
I think they both Gravenberg put a good shift in. I mean, there's a couple of nagging moments when I was like kind of watching him right there with his play in the first half. But of course, I think we all had some nagging moments in the first half right there with that midfield. I mean, I hope that he takes this as an opportunity right there. Scored a goal right there. Your first goal right there can be a lightning rod to go there to bounce your career forward. And I hope that happens. I'm holding my breath because I really don't know. I don't know what I get out of Gravenberg, honestly, right there. I think that the next manager is going to have to figure out where to put Gravenberg on the pitch. I think that we just haven't quite figured out where he belongs in this side. Because I mean, he didn't belong in Bayern either. I mean, he had lots of problems in that side right there, where they were like, okay, they were kind of reluctant to sell him, but ultimately they're like, well, we don't know what to do with him, so sure. And so it's like, and he's young. That's the one good thing that you have with him is that we have a very young midfield. I mean, even Gakpo's young, so like that, we have a lot of young players right there that are moldable that we can go in there and put in different positions right there to see how they work out. Which you were talking about there with when Tamush was talking about the 3-4-3. I think the side is set up for a 3-4-3. Honestly, we got the right pieces to do that. I mean, I think that we're going to look probably to our manager right there that may fit that type of mold right there. That may happen. But I was pretty happy with Gravenberg today. I've had my complaints right there over the times right there. About the laziness kind of that you feel from him. I didn't see that today. I see my team was a little bit more in tune with the match. I just want to go a little bit more about Endo. Into the second half was amazing. I watched him right there. He mopped up every single little thing there was on that pitch. I mean, I've got nothing but praise for him. I wish he'd probably came across an Endo type player like when he was maybe like 4 years ago right there. I mean, at 31, he's kind of like going down toward the trajectory right there. But if we'd have got him at 25, I mean, that would have probably saved us money that we paid for Fabinho. I mean, right there. I mean, we probably was still had Endo coming to the side. But
Club will run the wheels off of him as well. I would.
Hey, but as my dad always said, if ands and butts are candy and nuts, oh, what a Christmas we would have.
Let me just stick with the midfield for a little bit because we've called for Elliott to be included for a long time. Just in general, a general shout for Elliott to be in there in the midfield. My feeling is he didn't acquit himself that well today, Temujin. Am I way off on that, or did he do what we expected of him?
I think he did well. I don't think he was. I think that's a bit harsh on him. I did feel that he would have been better served if Mo was playing with him. I think they have like a better kind of like an energy there. And going back to, like when guys were talking about Gravenberg and Gakpo, I think that's a connection there that kind of helps each other as well. So I think on the right hand side with like Elliott not having Mo, I think that kind of like hurts him a little bit. But I thought he was well. He's all over the place. He wins the ball. He does a lot of stuff off the ball that I really like seeing, and his movements I really like seeing. I mean, because and then he's trying to get Mo a goal at the end there instead of probably taking a shot himself. I don't know. I actually liked him. I mean, is he like 8 out of 10? Probably not. But then you would probably give him like a 7 or something like that. I thought he was. What's the industrious? Is that a good word for him? Maybe like he wins the ball. He does a lot of stuff, a lot of the dirty work that you want in that midfield. But going back to what you were saying earlier with like that size defending, that's the issue over there. That's not really his strong suit. He's gonna help you win the ball up the field. Once they get past midfields, his defending is not what it should be either. But
I mean, the Gravenberg goal was Elliott. That was all Elliott right there. That goal. So I mean, I got to give him that right there. He constantly works. I mean, and that's what and that's what I want to see. I want to see industrious players in our midfield.
And he doesn't take unnecessary risks that you get from Szoboszlai.
Yes.
I think that's one thing. Sometimes it might be like, oh, he's not doing anything with it. But, we talked about this, and when Jones was our best midfielder, we kind of like talked about it, that he's not taking the silly risks. He's keeping possession and like valuing the possession of the ball. Like you see Szoboszlai coming in afterwards and then turning the ball over to the middle that he does over and over again. You just don't get that as much from Elliott for the most part. Like he might recycle it, but he's not going to like turn it over in a bad spot.
Well, it's like the constant criticism we have about Szoboszlai is he tries to force play too much right there, and that instead of actually sitting back and thinking about it and taking that extra pass, or or actually going back and being, in the terms of American football, a quarterback in a way kind of thing right there. Where you have to actually actually see what the play is. It's like for him, it's like, okay, I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to make this happen. Make this happen, and he does the wrong decision, either overpasses or he shoots to the sky.
And I actually thought that was one of the best things we saw out of Gravenberg today, was the fact that he was not forcing things. He did play it back to Robertson if he had to. He did play it back to Van Dijk when he had to. And he wasn't diving in 3 people thinking, I have to be the one doing something. Just got to play in the... I think that's what you get from Elliott. Somebody who plays within the system and doesn't look to shine, does the hard work and let the system get the goal instead of him getting the goal.
Yep.
Let me talk about Jota a little bit. It was great to see him scoring, but does anybody else get the impression that he's not quite fully recovered?
Oh no, he's not quite recovered. He's I'd say I give Jota probably about 75%. I mean, I think that there were some good movements. I think that we may have played Jota a little bit too long in this match. I probably would have pulled Jota off probably about 10 or 15 minutes earlier. I mean, I'm glad he got the goal. I'm glad we
wouldn't have the goal. Nunez would be off. So.
True. Yeah. I mean, but I think that I look at the long term of him too, right there, about him playing, about the type of injury that he had, and going forward and all that, to make sure that he's gonna be a player that we can have, because Jota's not going anywhere. We're going to keep Jota. I mean, he'll be here next season, right there, and that's we need to make sure that we have 100% Jota next season.
I don't want to speculate too much and go too far forward, but just what you said earlier on, Temujin, has got me thinking. If Ruben Amorim is going to be the next Liverpool manager, he does play with a back 3 system. From kind of going forward, given the malaise that's hitting the team right now, going forward, if that is going to be the appointment and if that is going to be the system, it's a little bit exciting, isn't it? There's got to be the sadness part, and then we're going to go, well, let's see what's going to happen now. It's not going to be the same 4-3-3. It's not going to be the same players in the same positions. Let's have a look and see what this next situation is going to be, because we do more or less have a squad that can play that system, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, you don't want to be like, yeah, it's something different, but at the same time, like everybody talks about, like Pep, who, for the longest time, I wanted to carry on too, but I just feel more and more like it is figured out. Like what we do is figured out a little bit. So a change in that sense. And I think we have so many players that not necessarily fit the system, but are really, really good players. So to be able to get the most out of them as well, the only thing would be, I hope he's bringing his boy center back with him.
Yes.
And then probably somebody else, because you will, I mean, we have shortage on center backs when we use 2 of them. If you're using 3 of them, you definitely need like a stable of center backs over there who can play that position. I do, like I say, I did watch some stuff and I really like what I saw. Yeah, you don't want to get way ahead because he might not even be the guy, but I try to fit, everybody talks about like Trent and, kind of like building this around him. He's kind of like the future because of his age and what he can do and things like that. And I think if that's your biggest problem to solve, that is a good way of solving it in my head, because playing him as right back, once you put and then expect him to carry your offense is not going to work. And I think it's too late in this game now to tell him to be like, no, go back to being a right back and create occasionally, because I think he enjoys that creativity and like, being involved in it.
Yep.
And you can see, man, like he gets the ball on the right hand side. That first ball that he sent in to Diaz, that probably should have been a goal, mind you, because we have 3-4. I mean, those balls coming from the right hand side, some of like his long passing, like that he was sending Diaz on, and he knows where people. He has a great talent in terms of passing. You got to be able to use that. To me, the 3-4-3 makes sense in that way, but
Yeah,
we got a couple of months before we start worrying about that.
I mean,
we may. Oh, go ahead, Brian.
I mean, if we go to a 3-4-3, I mean, I think definitely Ignacio has to come back. He has to bring him with him. I mean, that's a must right there to work in that system right there. My thing would be what to do with Kanate. That would be my thing right there, because we can't get Kanate to have a full string of matches right there to actually play. I mean, and is Kwanzaa ready, that mature enough to go there play with a back 3? That'd be my biggest questions. And after that, would be on the left side. Is Robertson able to go there and play that type of 3-4, that type of system right there with the amount of runs that you have to constantly do at his age? That'd be my questions right there. Trent will be great in a 3-4-3. I think, because it takes away that ultimate responsibility that everybody complains about him defending. So I mean, that takes that right out the play. Let him go there and be more of a wing back, and and do his thing. But yeah, I think that's. It's going to be interesting summer.
Sir Z makes the point that maybe we just need a change of message. And could it be that simple, Tamuch, and just a new change of voice before systems and anything else? A new change of approach will give the players the refreshment they needed.
I don't know. I'm thinking if we go back 3 months and that does, like, if the Klopp thing is not there, I don't even think Cersei like thinks in that sense. Like, we don't say that. We say we need finishers, we need strikers, blah blah blah. You know what I mean? I think now it's a lot easier to put it on like Klopp. He's so tired and stuff. I mean, okay, like he did not age like 10 years in the last 3 months. He's the same dude that was in December. Like, people are putting these pictures off, like, like before the president takes office and when he leaves and stuff. You were actually was talking about like before or after marriage with kids. I mean, he looked the same in freaking December. I mean, it's not like he aged, but now that we have this story out, I feel like everything is going to that. Normally, we would not say that. And honestly, if people still could finish, I don't think we're questioning the message or the voice in the locker room, because we'll probably have another like 6-8 points and we're leading the league, or, like things go our way better VAR wise. But screw VAR. Even if we could just finish over the last 2 weeks, I don't think we're talking about Klopp's voice message, how much wider his hair got and all that kind of crap. I think we're just like rolling with it.
Hey, I want to do a before and after picture of our build-up play right there from today right there, because I felt like I aged like about 15 years right there watching our build-up.
Let me just throw one quick one out before we go and enjoy our Sundays with a nice 3 points in the bag. To Mooch and Brian, we have Everton coming up. If we play like we started today, are Everton looking for a little bit of joy there and getting like a rare win against us?
I don't think so. I mean, I think they're just parking, right? It's always a tough game. Even when we were like, really rolling, it's always a tough game. You look at today and you kind of can project the lineup going against Everton a little bit. Because I think, we took it as sending a message, but at the same time, it was rotation. So now you're going to have like Mac, you're probably going to have Salah and stuff like that. I don't think it gives any signs for that. While I would have enjoyed them like losing to Forest today, in some ways that win today kind of eases them a bit more. They're gonna park the bus. It's just a matter of, are we going to be able to finish? And once you finish, Sean Douche will not open things up. It's just a matter of just playing it safe in the back. This is a game you need a freaking clean sheet on, and then you win like 2-0 or something like that. But yeah, hopefully another 3 points. I think what Nick or Sergi was saying earlier on the comments. At this time of year, just get the freaking 3 points and hope that somebody stumbles.
So, Brian, do you agree we'll be singing the blues midweek?
I don't think so. I think that I think that they're like Tamusha said right there. They're going to park the bus. I think they're pretty much almost at safety now. I mean, they still maybe have like maybe a point or 3 to go right there to be completely safe. But I think this Forest result kind of like saved their ass. I mean, for the most part. Well, VAR saved their ass right there because there was 3 denied clear penalties, but that's a whole other subject right there about VAR. But yeah, I think that we just need to make sure we have a good playmaker involved in there. I think this is definitely a game that we need to have back up playing from the start right there to go there to force the issue. Because again, we're going to lock them. But these derbies right there, you never know what you got. They've got a lot tamer than they used to be. But I think that. I don't think that Everton's going to do anything for us. Is going to hold us back. I think that we're going to probably win like 2-0, maybe 3-1, something like that. I mean, because I can't really go there and say this side is capable of keeping a clean sheet yet. So that's my biggest issue in there, because we always go there and go back in our heads and let dumb shit happen. So but I mean, I think that we should come up with 3 points for them.
Something to discuss then for tomorrow night's Monday podcast, which everybody should be watching. But Arsenal play Chelsea on Tuesday, so depending on how things go and a resurgent Chelsea at that, we could be looking at a wonderful Wednesday for all of us here at American Scouser TV. But for today, just remains to say thank you to Tamuch and thank you to Brian. Thank you for everybody who commented in the pre and the post match, pre-match. We had a lot of people watching us and listening and commenting, and that's what we want to see more of. So make sure you're liking us on Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly known as Twitter, formerly known as Batman, and then Instagram as well. And then join our Patreon so you get the nice special content that we're always putting out. Which doesn't involve me eating 7 donuts in 6 donuts in 7 minutes, but it may well do. We never know what's going to happen with
desperate times, desperate measures.
Yeah, desperate times, desperate measures. $1 a donut, that's what I say. We buy the top
I did the Gordo special last night on Patreon, so I'm a $1 member.
I think that's what we should have, an extra special tier to see me kill myself with carbohydrates slowly. But make sure you're on those things, because if you're not, you will not know what's happening. We have the morning coffee with Reckless Coffee tomorrow morning, Timochen.
Yes, sir. Matush and I will be. I mean, there'll be a lot of talking points. Obviously, we're definitely going to delve into this Forest thing, especially the statement they put out and stuff like that. I have not gotten a chance to watch those VAR moments, so I got to do some homework before the show tomorrow morning and watch those, because I know how bad they were and stuff like that. But yeah, there'll be a lot to talk, and it's the usual Monday morning where we talk all kinds of silliness, food, you name it. It's out there.
All the more reason to watch if Timuchin has to do homework tonight. I think.
Yes, I'm cramming. Damn it.
And I'm going to go cramming now, because there's a box of 50 Munchkins upstairs with my name on them. And that's
really?
That's because I legally changed my name to Duncan. So all the donuts have my name on them. But we will see everybody during the week for our fantastic content. Thank you to Mooch, and thank you, Brian, and thank you everybody else. It's a happy day for the Liverpool fans. Up the mighty Reds. We'll see everybody during the week.